So let's take some of those practical positions that I kind of showed you with Phil and Isabel, and let me show you how I use them in an actual wedding setting. So those are really a base structure for you to build off of. The big thing here is that we want to build off those and kind of incorporate the vibe of the couple that you're with and how everything's going and how you're feeling. If it's a stressed out bride, if it's a fun bride, if it's a stressed out groom, if they're feeling relaxed, you'll really kind of be able to gauge on that day. The big key thing is to use those tips that I told you before with those 5 poses and kind of incorporate them into what we're doing here today. So here we go. So here's a very quick shot. Let's first talk about the technical stuff here. Most of these I'm going to be on as long a lens as I possibly can be. The reason why is because that's going to cause that nice bokeh out of focus look in the background and have them nice and clear in front. I'll shoot at a 5.6 or a 4 on the 80 to 400. If I'm using my 24 to 70, I'll probably go down to a 2.8 if I can. But really, again, to get that stuff that's really in focus and really out of focus, because that's what looks beautiful. That's kind of what our eyes are aesthetic to looking in professional ways. We're here at an ISO 500 because we're outdoors, we're in shade, the background's lit up by the sun. You can see a kind of a nice kind of gloss light across their faces and along the light. Along their hair right here rather, and then right here on their shoulder she's got a nice like kind of rim, soft light coming in. It's really important that you kind of find a spot. Phil and Isabel had kind of scattered before, and we found a nice botanical garden that was near their venue, so we drove over there in between their reception and their ceremony. This not only is important for photos, but it's important time for them to kind of relax and come down from the ceremony, and they can kind of just kind of relax and let things go. Everything's in motion. They shouldn't be worried about this point. So let's start. So let's see. We're here at our 80 to 400 millimeter lens. Again, long lens to get that look. And I basically start with them looking at each other like we did before. Phil's being a little goofy, which I'm a little lucky with him as a groom because they're a little more lively. You can see here I have them start to walk. I'm ahead of them, shooting with a pretty solidly fast shutter, 200th of a second. And then I'm also here kind of just doing different compositions as they're walking. This is more of them just walking, being natural, telling them to talk to each other about the wedding. So those are nice, quick little shots. Here we've stopped. Instead of having them hold each other across, I'm having them do more of a smell the flowers in between, having them smell flowers and then having them look at each other. And this is the base structure, is having them look at each other, but then I'm like, let's go foreheads. So they create this nice little quick little forehead thing. I have Phil, you can see down here his pockets in his left hand. So it's just those little things. Remember, Phil, put your pocket in your left hand. Let's do foreheads and smile. Real quick, snap off very quickly. Again, I'm at 230 millimeters, so I've got that background really out of focus. Over here, again, we went from looking at each other with their arms around each other to Isabel look at me, Phil look at her. We did this earlier in the engagement photos. This worked out wonderfully. I like a little bit of a closer crop with the head there. We can step back. Again, I'm at 230 millimeters. There's a little bit of a flare, but I really do like putting the sun in the background. You can see how they're highlighted in the back here. You can see it's a nice highlight here, and there's enough light pushing in from the front to cover their faces. It's just really location, location, location. It's a good location, good time for the sun to really knock these out. Again, stepping back at 330 millimeters, having them cheek to cheek, looking right at me, grab that quick shot. Here's them shoulder to shoulder. This is kind of a nice looking DIY look that's become really popular, is just kind of that kind of old school farmer look where their shoulders are side by side. Kind of do that again. It looks really nice because of the bokeh in the background. We got trees and nice out of focus. Having them look at each other. Again, it's the same stuff that I'm having you run through, and you can see how it really plays out well. Having them look at each other. I think they're laughing at a joke here that they're talking to you about. You just kind of have to be quick. Got a quick kiss in there, and then I kind of repositioned, had him kiss her forehead. I do again like that's my style with the negative space. I thought it worked really well. It's a really beautiful photo that Phil can actually use later to put a graphic on over above or on a photo album. Here we just came down to cover the bouquet. Again, really lucky after noticing how big the bouquet was and how beautiful it was. It works really well in this space. You can see that we don't normally get that lucky with bouquets, but the color of the bouquet with the color of the background really looks great. So really after knowing the space, knowing the bouquet, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to shoot different photos here. Here's another one close up, again long lens. Here this has got a kind of a filter on it. I had them walk away from me, again just like we did with the positioning. Had them walk away, shot a little bit of the photos, shot a little bit of the dress detail and his shoulder detail. Again, a great shot also of the hair that her friend had done for her. This one's negative space, same deal. Again, here's a little bit of a different shot. I've kind of tried to put some negative space, so I'm not super excited about this shot, but had them look at each other, do a little smile. This is a little bit too out of blown out. We see we can brought it down in editing, but it works nice. It's not the best photo. Here's them just being themselves because they're just a goofy couple. It looks great. Just, be prepared, be on it, kind of shoot when you can. Again, I'm at 220 millimeters. I'm not in their face, but I'm still getting a really nice close-up composition of them being goofy and them really showing their personality. Not sure what's going on here. But here we go, them walking. Again, I walked ahead of them. Start out with a very clean, them holding hands, walking towards me. Then you start to kind of play with the composition a little bit. She opened up a little bit as they're walking. They really are relaxing at this point, just kind of taking a stroll and stepping back. It really is a key of you as a photographer to make them feel comfortable, because you can see as they feel comfortable, the photos just open up and they'll just be beautiful. Here I had them stop, take a quick kiss, continue on walking, continue that frame and that shutter, and you can see as they're getting closer, I'm auto-focusing to get them in a nice composed shot. Again, they're relaxed, not super stoked about this fence in the background, but we got their emotion in their faces. Here I stopped them by a tree, and I'm trying to get that nice, cool, pretty flare in the background, and I'm focusing here on the wedding ring and on the bouquet. You can see I'm at a longer millimeter, and they're out of focus, but I really wanted to focus on the bouquet and have it really show, because we want to document all the little details. Here we are, the same tree. I turned a little bit so they're a little bit in the shade. You can see the sun is lighting up her hair right here, which is kind of what I was trying to achieve, is just this little kind of highlight to break them up from the background. You can see again, I turned them around. Here's the bouquet a little bit closer, foreheads touching. Here's that kiss again, reframe, a little bit higher, sun is still poking through in the background. I don't care about blowing out the background because that's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about their faces and seeing the emotion. Hear them in the same position, but I took a big giant step to the right. The sun's now more in my lens. You can see a flare across. It looks pretty, adds this nice glowing effect to the entire thing. This is a little more daring. I feel like this would look nice on a cover. It's not really documenting anything, but it's a very beautiful artistic photo. You can see I'm at a longer lens, so I've got things blown out. I took the hood off my lens, and I'm letting the sun just blow into my lens like crazy. Nice, beautiful sun flare. The longer the lens, the more flare you're going to get. Also, as wide open as you can be. That's what flares are. You can see the aperture ring is kind of right there. It's nice and big, and it's out of focus because we're such a long lens. This I got really lucky with. The position of the sun, their position, prepared, ready to shoot, and that's how we got that image. Once I noticed that, you can continue to do shots like that. I can see that. I'm like, oh, how did I achieve that? Let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing that. Kept them out of focus. This is also a great cover shot. We can throw some text in front of it. Again, trying getting those details of the dress is also really good. So I took that shot, saw the details in this shot, and went and tried to get a little bit of a closer detailed shot. So it's got more detail and so something she can show. This has been, I think, the moneymaker for Phil here. He and them have really liked these shots, and it's really lucky at this shot because typically lower angles are not necessarily flattering. For some reason, Phil and Isabel pull it off really well. Here's that pensive shot of him looking off in the distance. She's looking at him. I think they were just kind of taking a breath and relaxing. Again, same thing. These have a little bit of different filters on them right now, but we can see the flare here. We can see them into themselves. They're looking at each other, really focused on each other. And again, here I had them looking at me just to get that nice, beautiful flare profile pic for Facebook. Fantastic shot. They really pulled it off. It's a really good-looking couple for this shot. You can see the different edits here. They moved apart. I do like the one of them closer together and a little bit of a bigger flare. It's really just more of a style and the type of shooter you are. Phil's pretty excited. You can see I moved them down onto the grass. I kind of liked, we were near this hill, so I was able to kind of put a nice green background behind them. Again, sun behind them. Quick kisses, quick same thing, looking at each other, shoulder, head on shoulder, looking down. Here we got kind of lucky. I'm on 140 millimeters here, making them laugh. They're just joking, relaxing. Again, the sun is still in our background. We have Phil out of focus. I think he's looking up at me or the videographer. We're kind of having them talk, relax, just getting really nice candids, having Isabel look at me, same deal. Stepped back just to get a little bit of coverage. I wasn't too excited about the shot, but it's good to just kind of get some different coverage. Here, since we were there, had their hands placed on each other. This is a good shot to get. Zoomed in at 400 millimeters, so there's some fall off. Then let's go back to the car. I had them walking back in the direction we came from. Again, just like we showed in the posing shots, having them walking away from us looks great. focus on the details of the dress. Sun is still in the background, so we get a nice soft light in the front. This is a great shot that we're using for the class, so there's a filter on it. Another good shot to get the details of the bow, the dress, his suit, the bouquet, the jewelry. Could do without the fence, but it still looks like a beautifully composed, nice shot with the filter. Here's back up at the position we were in. I had them turn around just to get a couple of coverage. This shot's been really popular, going back to that old American style of shoulder to shoulder, but now we still got the details. We got the bow tie, we got the earrings, we got the dress, we got the bouquet, we got the jewelry, we got the boutonniere. We really got everything here that really sums up everything about the style of their wedding. Not necessarily them, but the style of their wedding. So you kind of look out for shots like this. This would be a great album cover maybe for your next rock band. Here's another just a little bit lower, getting that hand. So again, style of the wedding, but a little bit of them inside. So, you know, you can use those for different things, like you could use those for thank you cards, you could use those for their website, you could use them for their profile pics or for a wedding album, anything like that. Again, them looking at each other, going back shoulder to shoulder, looking at us, looking at each other. Great way to quickly put them in different poses that we're able to use later. Quick kiss. We found this place down in Manhattan Beach where we live. They had kind of seen this before, but basically it's a magical thing that meant a lot to them, sort of a once upon a time, happily ever after, and they just kind of wanted to go down and shoot some photos. So we did a really quick photo shoot down there. We happened to be in a good spot. We got some coverage, had them walking straight down here, and found some good spots for them to do an edited quick shot. Again, this is them relaxing and kind of feeling good. Bouncing over to Donovan and Courtney really quick. They were luckily at their church. They had some nice spots. I did the same thing, having them look at us, having them look at each other, having one look at her, having one look at us. So the big thing is, like, you know, it's very quick and easy to pose them, and most brides and grooms are not used to being in front of the camera, so it's kind of helpful. Had them sit on a bench, which I think they liked a lot. This one was, again, Donovan looking at her, her looking at me. Again, she was a little bit, felt awkward a little bit, but it made them laugh, which was great. It's helpful to kind of, to teach them to sort of just relax and laugh. Couldn't get a real good kiss out of them, but she did like kissing his cheeks, so we did that. Again, cheek to cheek facing us. Quick, we're on again 185 millimeter with the nice blown out background, and then doing quick one of the rings. And then these guys were actually at the film school that they went to school at in the college. So we went over to the building, and I did a really quick shot of them kind of near where they met in the lobby of the school that they went to in college. Here's one of them with negative space. This is just kind of my style, putting them down in the lower thirds on the right and in the bottom. They also had a long shot at the church that they got married at. I was able to step, I don't know, probably 200 yards away from the church and really condense them on this long lens. So we get him looking at her, her looking at me, with the background of the church out of focus, but you can still tell what it is. I had them stop, look at each other, walk towards me so we can get a couple of other really good shots. The big thing to take away here is to take a look at those poses that we talked about in the other lesson. Have them do it very quickly and very efficiently. Have them be relaxed, and make sure that you're kind of knowing where you're going to put them and what you're going to do. Knowing the place that you're going to shoot them and knowing where the sun is going to be is very, very big, and really can happen. Some happy accidents can happen with some flares, but also just being prepared and knowing your couple and knowing the types of people they are and where you can put them is really helpful.